Hello, good evening, and welcome to State of the Tigers here on PowerMizzou.com. Every single night, not every night. Every night would be way too much for me and way too much for all of you guys. Every Monday night, coming your way, talking Mizzou football and basketball here on our YouTube channel, brought to you by an elite play caller in the insurance industry. That is James Carlton, State Farm Insurance, Webster Groves, Missouri. If you live in Missouri, Illinois, or Kansas, get in touch with James at carltoninsurance.net. You can also call his office at 314-961-4800. Ask what you should do with your insurance, how much money he can save you. He will have answers to both of those. Okay, so I am getting messages that some of your streams are messed up. Let's bring Cody onto the screen. Here's what's happening. Get in touch with James Carlton, like I said. But here's what's happening, guys. StreamYard has done this new thing where they are putting like a horizontal and a vertical display on things. So I am going to try to get rid of the vertical display and see if that helps any of you guys. I don't know if it will or not. For some reason, StreamYard has started putting our show out as two different streams. I will try to set that up differently. One of them is vertical, one of them is horizontal. If you are on the vertical stream, you will probably see something that looks really messed up. If you're on the horizontal one, you'll look fine. Cody Goodwin always looks absolutely stunning on our screen here. I can see him. I don't know if you guys can. Cody, what's up, man?
I hope we look good. I'm only ever seeing like the back end of this thing. So I hope that we look good being broadcast to the masses, because we've got a lot of things that we want to discuss tonight. I don't know how much people want to listen, but we got a lot of things that on our agenda tonight.
So David Fine is he has the issue in the chat. He says, on my phone it looks normal, on my TV it looks weird. Here's the deal. If you're on your phone and you can see a vertical stream, if you're on your TV, laptop, whatever, you're seeing horizontal is going to look fine. That's the issue. If you're looking at a vertical stream on your TV, it's going to look weird. So StreamYard every like 3 days says, hey, look, we got this new thing. Try it. And I'm like, I don't want to try it. I just want to do the same thing I've been doing for the last 5 years, man. New things suck. We shouldn't do new things.
Yeah, sometimes the system upgrades don't always make for a better user experience, but I understand maybe trying to, everybody's always on their phones or on their tablets or on their mobile devices, right? So like, let's just make everything available for mobile devices. So I understand that, but also like, I don't know, a lot of people access YouTube from their smart TVs. So like, make it somewhat normal.
Yeah, it put out this thing that said, do you want vertical or horizontal or both? Both is recommended. So I hit both, and then it said, cool, we will publish this as 2 separate streams. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that, but it was too late. So I don't know. Everybody can hear us. Hopefully you can see us. We'll get it figured out as we go along, like we always do. All right, let us start. Let's set the scene for what you're about to listen to, which is Texas A&M coach Mike Elko. But before we get there, if you guys did not hear, after Saturday's game, Kaden Green was asked, I don't know, something about the offensive struggles, and basically said, Texas A&M, like, sometimes they had defensive linemen, or sometimes they were standing there kind of calling out our plays, and, they're a good defense, blah, blah. And I wanted to make sure that I did not say that Kaden was saying something that he wasn't saying. So I asked a follow-up, and I said, just to be clear, are you saying that they knew the plays you were running? And he said, yeah, I think they were keying off formations or stances or something like that. Sometimes they knew the plays. Like, Cody, what was your initial reaction to that when Kaden said it on Saturday night?
Well, my eyebrows went up at the first that he said that. And then I looked around to see like, okay, who's got the mic? Who do I need to wave to? But then like you had already waved down, to Missouri's sports info folks to ask the obvious follow-up, which is like, are you actually saying that they may have known what you were calling? And he basically said, yeah. And that to me was shocking in the moment. And then when I went back and rewatched the game, still a little surprising, but also at certain junctures of the game, Mizzou kind of ran out of answers offensively. And so maybe not as surprising. I mean, you never want to tip your hand, right? Whether you're up 3 scores or down 3 scores. But I mean, I'm not saying Mizzou gave up. I'm not saying that at all. They kept fighting all the way to the end, offensively and defensively. Like they emptied the tank on both ends. Just one tank was maybe a little bit more full than the other at the start of that game, right? Like the defense we knew was well equipped for that fight. The offense, maybe not so much. But at a certain point, like Mizzou was just kind of out of answers. And so maybe not super surprising, but still kind of like, that's a little interesting, like, and that was still kind of the lingering reaction I had in my head after rewatching the game this weekend.
Yeah. And so that was what Kaden Green said. And I'll be honest, my first reaction was, well, I don't know if Kaden should have told us that, and I hope he doesn't get in trouble for telling us that. Because, like, if it happened, it's not his fault, right? If it happened, the kid just answered a question. And so Mike Elko did his weekly media day today, and Billy, if we have Mike Elko's tweet, and the video of Mike Elko responding to this, if we could play that, then we'll react to that.
Kaden Green, after the game, said that y'all's defense was calling out plays. Were they tipping their plays at all, or is that something that you guys have kind of learned to do game to game, where maybe y'all can pick up on some things?
I don't know anything about that.
We'll go to the third row to the left.
All right. So when Cody sent me that today, I watched it, and like, you don't even need to hear what he says. The whole thing is in the last 2 seconds. When he looks at the camera, my response was, that is the definition of shit-eating grin in the dictionary. Like, 100% Mike Elko knew what Missouri was doing.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what that smile said. That's what that answer said. Like, that's, and clearly, like, listening to Elko a little bit just in the pregame before they played Mizzou earlier last week, listened to his radio show a little bit, went back and listened to his post game after rewatching the game just to kind of see what his thoughts were on how A&M played. And I wanted to listen back to the fake punt quote because it was just sent to me. I didn't listen to it live. And so I think, I probably could have done a better job portraying it had I heard like the voice and how he ultimately said the thing, which we can maybe get into that a little bit later. But, seeing that live, it's like, okay, like there's clearly something here. And there were a number of people, like, as I tweeted out that video after Carter, posted it. And I was, I did the little monocle emoji where I'm just like, what's going on here? Right. And like, I think a lot of people are like, has Drinkwitz answered for this yet? Like, do we know what his thoughts are on it? And like, you said this too, that like, Kaden said it after Drink talked on Saturday post game, so we have not actually gotten the opportunity to ask Drinkwitz about this. I'm assuming this will probably be something he addresses off the top on Tuesday during his weekly press availability, and if not, it will be one of the first questions that we ask. And so I find that to be a little fascinating. I have my own theories as to why maybe that was what it was, right? Like a little post-game frustration. Obviously, A&M figured something out about Missouri's offense. And we kind of knew going into that game that Missouri's offense was going to look different, but probably still be somewhat limited, right? When you're working with the true freshman quarterback who has gotten a lot of reps with the twos and occasionally some reps with the ones, but he's still, not even 12 full months removed from his high school graduation. Like there's a lot of inexperience there. Right. And so when it comes to the playbook, it's going to be pared down a little bit, even if they are going to try to call plays from different pages of that playbook. And so the fact that A&M was able to get a beat on things, maybe not super surprising because one, Elko's a defensive head coach. That defense has been very good for, the majority of the 2 years that he's been in College Station. But then on top of that, when you consider maybe how limited Mizzou's offense was, I mean, it's not super surprising, but just the fact that it has become part of the discourse, I think, is what makes it a little surprising. Also, another excellent picture of Matt Zollers looking like he's absolutely freaked out while playing live in a football game. I'm sure everybody will appreciate that.
I'm curious how often that kind of happens in a football game and we don't know it. You know, I mean, look, because all these coaches and players obviously spend hours and hours studying. The whole point of film study is, okay, let's figure out their tendencies when they're in this formation. Or, you know, you will hear a defensive lineman a lot of times say, you know, you can look at a guy's knuckles, and if his knuckles are white, that means he's pushed in and it's going to be a run play. If they're not, it's relaxing and he's going to go back and it's a pass play. Now, or to use the baseball analogy of tipping pitches, right? Like sometimes a pitcher does a thing. And when you figure that out, the last thing you want to do is tell him. Like you don't want to say, hey, when he holds his glove at this angle, it's a breaking ball, because then he knows and he changes it. And you want to know when he's throwing a breaking ball. So I'd be curious how often that this happens versus how often it goes public, because I think the fan reaction, and I'm not sure it's unfair, is, oh my God, that's an embarrassment for the Missouri coaches. You know, like you, I kind of want to see what Drink says about it, because maybe it's more common than we think. I don't know.
It could be as simple as the Mike sees something in the offensive line or the way the alignment sets up, and all he does is yell, run, 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 right? Like it could be as simple as that. And, you know, that's not as damning as, oh, you know, like they're going to run outside zone to this specific area. Like we're going to, you know, like it's not like they probably know specifics. It could be as simple as, you know, run, 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 or pass, 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 like something as simple as that, which you still don't want that. But like it may not be as in depth as maybe some fans are making it out to be. I do agree.
It may not be screen pass to number 0. Check him out, you know?
Yeah. Like it's, you know, it's probably not anything that, I mean, it could be, I don't know. Like we can only hear so much on the game tape when it comes back to, you know, like when we're listening to the actual game back. But I mean, like it could be something as simple as that. And even then, like that's still something you want to get corrected. And that's something that obviously comes with time a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they saw something with Zoller's feet, or maybe they saw something with the way Zollers was operating. Like that wouldn't necessarily surprise me because of his inexperience and because of the number of reps he's had coming into a game like that. Like if that's ultimately what the defense, A&M's defense, was calling out, then yeah, you know, that kind of makes sense. And that's something that will get ironed out with more experience and more reps. But yeah, like you, I kind of want to sit back and reserve judgment until I hear what Drink has to say about it.
And let's be clear, if it is something like, if it comes out, it's something like, well, every time they're in this formation, they hand the ball to Ahmad Hart. Okay, that's a problem. Right now, I would not think that that's the case, but it will be interesting. And Javon, by the way, saw your super chat, and we'll get that back up and address all the questions and comments here in the next few minutes. Wanted to cover a couple of these things first. Guys, if you have questions, we're going to be with Cody for about first 40 minutes or so, and then we're going to bring Drew and talk some basketball at the end. So make sure to get your questions in. Billy will mark them, and we'll get to them as we go along. Okay, so regardless, and by the way, like, I don't know if Mike Elko figured out the signals or the plays or whatever. Mike Elko is a damn good football coach. Like the difference between Texas A&M now and the Texas A&M I have shamed for the last 23 years since they fired R.C. Slocum is, I think he should be the national coach of the year. That dude has done a hell of a job.
I think he's got to be in the running for it at the very least. We'll see kind of how A&M ultimately closes this season out. That the season finale against Texas it has the potential to be a very big one with regards to Texas still maybe fighting for a playoff spot or even potentially a spot in the SEC championship game. They only have one SEC loss right now. They play Georgia this week. So we'll see how all that, unfolds. That could be, obviously it could be a pretty big CFP playoff positioning, college football playoff positioning. Yeah, it could be an important game positioning wise when it comes to the playoff. But I mean, this is like you're taking a very, very good ball coach, because Elko has proven that during all of his stops as a defensive coordinator, his 2 years at Duke, right? Like Duke was that was a team that I think they won 9 games his first year. They only went 7-5 his second year, but like still a team that fought really hard week in and week out. And you take that and you pair it with a program like Texas A&M that just seems to have oil money on top of oil money on top of oil money. And it's just as well resourced and well funded as any program in the country. And this is the result you get, right? A 9-0 team that looks like one of the best teams in the country. And we knew this was going to be a tough matchup for Mizzou, whether Zollers or Bo was healthy, whether it was, whether the offense was firing on all cylinders or whether they, stumbled in the way that they have in SEC play, whether the defense was lights out in the way that they've been this season or not. This was always going to be a really tough challenge. And I think we saw that firsthand, right? Like I warned you guys last week on this same show that defense is full of grown men and that offense is full of speed on the outside. And we got to see every which version of it on Saturday. And rewatching it back, it's very impressive just how fundamentally sound that A&M team is. Like there's a lot of talent on that team, don't get me wrong. And they had, I think, a lot of talent in specific areas that Mizzou just could not fully keep up with. But then you pair that talent with fundamental discipline, really strong play and really confident play, right? Like that team knew exactly what they were doing, play in and play out. And a lot of that tracks back to Elko, the staff he's assembled, and just the way they approach day to day. Like this is the result you get, a 21-point win on the road over who was at the time and still is, according to the coaches poll, a top 25 team. Like that's really, really impressive. And this A&M team is finally, I think, realizing the full potential of what this program can be. And I know Mizzou fans don't want to hear it, but it was pretty special to watch it up close, man. Like that was a damn good football team.
It just occurred to me because everybody's making coaching changes and the carousel's going and, everybody on this stream wants to fire the offensive coordinator and stuff. Texas A&M tried to hire Mark Stoops before him. So like the point is, if you've got a guy that's pretty good, maybe just let him do the job. Maybe just hang on to that guy because like every single coaching hire is a dart throw. Like Texas A&M got lucky because their first choice, the fans said, no, that's not going to be good enough for us. And it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes, you try to hire Greg Schiano and then end up hiring Jeremy Pruitt and it goes that way. But the point is every time you bring in a new guy, like there is no guarantee. Like I was kind of underwhelmed at the Elko hire when they made it just because I'm like, I don't know. That's weird. You fired Jimbo and then you hired his coordinator. That seems not like what you plan to do. And it's been a phenomenal move for him. So, Bill, if we can throw up real quick, one more thing on this August Myers comment, he made it back at 7-8 minutes ago. He said, isn't Marcel Reed's sister on staff at Mizzou? I want a conspiracy. And I want to be clear. I don't know if she still is. She was last year. And the only reason I know is because like this big deal was made A&M Missouri week last year about like, I think Drinkwitz jokingly said, I can't even remember if it ended up being serious, but yes, Marcel Reed's sister was at Missouri and she was like some sort of recruiting GA or something on Drinkwitz's staff. And I think it was a joke at the time that like she was kicked out of practice the week of the A&M game. So she couldn't see anything and tell her brothers. I don't know if she's still involved with the football program or not.
Quick Google search tells me that she's actually now on LSU staff who just fired their head coach. So, hey.
Who also just got their ass beat by Texas A&M 2 weeks ago. So,
they sure did. So, hey, yeah. Full circle.
Maybe
right?
The common denominator here is not Marcel Reed's sister. It's that Texas A&M has a really good football team this year.
That tends to be what I fall back on, that A&M is just really, really good. Like, it happens sometimes, right?
All right, so let's get to it for the next 10 minutes or so before we get to everybody's questions. You rewatched the game today. I'm going to tee you up by assuming you came to the conclusion that Kirby Moore has no idea how to call plays, is not qualified to be in the booth at a football game, and should be fired by the time this show ends. Is that accurate?
So the last time we had the Kirby Moore conversation, I think people were upset about the Vanderbilt game, but I think more people were kind of like, okay, Bo got hurt. Let's cut everybody a little bit of slack here. We weren't exactly sure what the Zollers experience was going to be like being thrust into the game in the third quarter. But I think the last time people were really upset about Kirby Moore was the Alabama game. And I think I showed in the rewatch that week, kind of point by point, that Bo really had a bad game that day. And the plays that he normally makes, right, those easy button throws that we refer to, were there routinely. and he just kind of passed them up and missed. And so I think we all came to the conclusion that it wasn't necessarily Kirby Moore's fault. It was the players not executing, right? Rewatching this game, I think, again, the players did not execute for a number of different reasons, and we'll get into those. I do think this time Kirby Moore deserves a little bit more heat for maybe not helping Matt Zollers out a little bit. And you could just tell from the moment he stepped on the field that Matt Zollers, the kid does not lack for confidence. And I will give him that, right? Like he made a lot of throws in the face of pressure. He stood in the pocket. He looked honestly comfortable in the pocket and was not afraid to launch some deep throws. He had 8 deep passes, which are passes that travel at least 20 yards down the field. That was as many as Bo had in the previous 4 SEC games combined, right? So like,
and
Drink,
it was too many.
I agree with that. Drink let us know in the week prior that they were probably going to chuck the ball a little bit, right? Like he said over and over again that Zoller's strength is his arm. I do think that Kirby and by extension Drinkwitz could have done a little bit better when it came to the game plan to help him out a little bit. Because, yeah, he didn't lack confidence, but you could tell that he was a little jittery. You could tell that he was a little bit nervous. Every throw, it seemed like, was 120-mile-an-hour fastball. And that was something that Jesse Palmer actually said on the broadcast. Like, it was noticeable there. It was noticeable when you and I were watching live. Like, there was one throw that he threw to Jude James in the first half that just the ball zipped right through his hands, right? And like, yeah, Jude should probably make the catch, but have you guys ever tried to catch a 120-mile-an-hour fastball? That thing's hard, really hard, especially when you're playing a real fast-paced football game where everybody's moving.
Most people that catch those have catcher's mitts on.
Yeah, right. To protect them from both the speed and also just to make sure that they don't drop the ball. So, and even then, those guys, the professionals, will drop the ball every now and again. So there was that. I think a lot of the deep shots he overthrew. Like, yes, he connected on 2 of the 8 deep passes, but a lot of them he overthrew. Some of them were way out of bounds. Some of the other short and intermediate passes, like Zollers was just off, man. Like, Pro Football Focus tracks adjusted completion percentage, which takes into account like how accurate are your passes actually? Like, do your throws have a shot for the receiver to catch them? And his adjusted completion percentage was 45%. Like, this dude was spraying throws all over the field. You could tell he was jittery. You could tell he was confident, yes, but like he lacked rhythm. He lacked consistency. The entire offensive operation lacked consistency. And so that's where I think Kirby and Drink really could have helped him. Like, there were a couple of plays that you and I saw watching live where it's like, hey, like there were a couple of easy passes that he could have made. Watching the game back, the game plan was very clear. Let's chuck the ball to shake loose A&M's defense so that maybe we can run the ball a little bit more. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that game plan. I think this dude needed a few gimmies. I think he needed a few layups. He needed a few easy button passes. And they tried some exotic stuff, right? Like they tried the pop pass to Kevin Coleman early in the game. They tried to screen pass to Josh Manning at the start of the second quarter. They tried a couple of things here and there. I felt like they should have maybe tried a little bit more just to get him comfortable. Like, there were a lot of times where Bo would, he'd play action roll out, or they would take the snap and immediately get on the move, and the offensive line would move with him, and he would have options. He'd have a deep option, he'd have a short option, or he could tuck it and run. And I know Zollers isn't necessarily the running quarterback that Bo is, but it would have been nice to see them give him options similar to that, where it's like, hey, man, like you've got your tight end in the flat, you've got a receiver running out to the side. Like, it would have been really cool to see them give him easy options to, hey, if you feel good about the deep throw, take it. Otherwise, the tight end is right there. Because I think back to the Vanderbilt game when he came in the second half, and that was very much Matt Zollers running the Bo Prabula offense, and it looked good. Like, there were a lot of times throughout that game. Like, I know they didn't only win that game, but they moved the ball. He got them into scoring position twice. If it weren't for the fumble at midfield, they probably would have gotten back into scoring position again. Like, they were moving the ball with him running the Bo offense. It would have been nice to see them implement certain elements of the Bo offense into the game plan on Saturday, if for no other reason than just to help him calm down. Because I don't know that I understand playing to his strengths because he's got a strong arm. I think they needed to maybe save him from himself a little bit to just help him calm down and ease into the game a little bit. And he just, from the word go, he was not calm. He was jittery the entire time. And that was kind of frustrating to watch live. And it was especially frustrating to watch him the second time around.
I think that also, though, kind of proves that what we complain about is not usually actually the process or the game plan. It's the result. Because what has been the major criticism of Kirby Moore for 8 games? We never throw the ball deep. We never even try. We're so easy to defend. Now it's the other extreme, and they throw more deep passes than they have all year, and none of them work. And we're throwing the ball deep too much. And I understand. It didn't work, so it sucked. But also, Marcel Reed threw not 3 passes beyond 20 yards in that game, 3 passes beyond 10 yards. He threw 13 passes behind the line of scrimmage. And so I know the reaction, because it was my reaction too, is Marcel Reed ran the game plan that should have been given to Matt Dollars. Well, that was the game plan that Missouri ran a few times, and it didn't work. But here's the big difference in that. Missouri runs a wide receiver, a tunnel screen to Josh Manning. Kevin Coleman, just didn't block the guy. Didn't block him. And I saw it live. You saw it live. You wrote about it on the rewatch. Just didn't. And hey, sometimes it happens, but didn't touch the guy. It's a 4-yard loss. It makes 1st and 15, 2nd and 19. You're punting. Texas A&M runs a tunnel screen to KC Concepcion. They block it perfectly against a blitz. He breaks 1 tackle, and it's a 52-yard touchdown. It's the same play. One team executed it, the other team didn't. Now, it doesn't matter when you call it and what the defense is in. Of course it does. This is, again, not a blanket defense of Kirby Moore. This is just an attempt to get people to understand that there are more factors than just what play did you call. You called the wrong one. And Cody, I think the biggest factor in this game, and tell me if you agree or disagree with it after watching it again, Missouri's offensive line stunk. It was real not good.
They didn't. You talk about Coleman not blocking on that one play. There were multiple plays in this game where it comes back to a combination of lack of execution, because there were a lot of times where Missouri's offensive line got blown backward off the ball or off the snap. And that ruined the pop pass to Kevin Coleman. It looked like it was supposed to go outside because he was following Jamal Roberts. Roberts kept running to the outside, but Keegan Tross got blown backwards by 2 different defenders. So that forced Coleman inside, and Tarian York was there for a stop. And it turned into a 1-yard game when I think they were looking for, at least to create 3rd and short, if not get a first down off that play. Start of the second half, Ahmad Hardy starts with that 3-yard run. And so then on 2nd and 7, or maybe it was a 2-yard run, whatever it was, 2nd down, I think it was Piegler that got blown back, and that allowed another linebacker to come into the hole and make the play, and it turned into a 3-yard loss. So 2nd and 8 becomes 3rd and 11, and that just happened over and over and over again. And I understand, I think in the grades I gave Missouri's rushing offense a C+, right? And there were a couple of people that were they had 200-yard rushers. Why are you doing that? One, vast majority of their rushing production came in the 4th quarter when they were already down 3 scores. So settle down.
A&M didn't care.
Yeah. And on top of that, I even ran the numbers just to make sure that I had them correctly. Missouri had a rushing success rate of 42%. Cody, what does rushing success rate mean? It's basically an advanced analytic that tells you how successful Missouri is running the ball play to play, down to down, based on down and how much yardage you need. And so anywhere between 50 and 40 is about average. Lower than 40 is below average. Higher than 50 is above average, right? So 44% is about average. But then you look at it, they had 32 total rushing attempts, right? I think the box score said 34, but I'm removing the 2 sacks by Zollers. They had, of the 32 rushing attempts, 15, almost half, went for 3 yards or less. And they had 4 rushes that were stopped for negative yards. The offense, it struggled. I understand that Hardy popped off runs of 40 and 45 yards, and Jamal Roberts had a number of 10+ yards, but the run game struggled quite a bit in that game. And you saw it, and it turned, 2nd and somewhat manageable, or 2nd and long into 3rd and long. I think there's a lot to be made about Texas A&M's 3rd down defense and how it's one of the best in the country. Mizzou had some success on 3rd down, not a ton, but some. Where they really got bit was on 2nd down. That's where, they would try to go back to Hardy or Roberts, and occasionally they would pop for 5 or 6 yards, but they would also get stopped for no gain, or they would get stopped for a loss. And now you're facing 3rd and long, and that's exactly where A&M wants to live, because they can get after the quarterback, and they got after Zollers quite a bit, or at least made him uncomfortable enough. So Kyle McCormick, the success rate was much higher with Roberts than Hardy. Roberts, I know, ran for 110. It's on the screen right there. Hardy for 109. Hardy had, I think they both had a rushing touchdown. I have thoughts on the running.
But Hardy
back.
got like 84 on two carries, right?
Right. Yeah. So the other, what was it, 11 carries? He had 20 some yards. So I'm curious what your thoughts are. We're seeing the comments start to populate on the screen. What did you make of the running backs' usage and production from Saturday?
So the big complaint coming out of that game was Ahmad Hardy can't have 3 carries at halftime. And like instantly, I agree with that. But then I went back and looked at it. He played the first 2 drives. He had 3 carries on the first 2 drives. Both those drives got stopped. They had to punt. They had 3 more drives in that half. Jamal Roberts, the third drive was just Jamal Roberts' care. Like that's his turn. That's when he takes the drive. He did pretty well. Then the last drive is it's a 2-minute drive. You're trying to score. That's automatically Jamal Roberts' drive. Like Ahmad Hardy, it wasn't that Ahmad Hardy didn't carry the ball. It's that he wasn't on the field. Missouri ran 28 plays in the first half, and 3 of them came, at the end where like they weren't trying to do anything. They were just getting to halftime, basically. So they basically ran 25 plays. Ahmad Hardy just wasn't on the field, and Jamal Roberts ran the football better on Saturday than Ahmad Hardy did. I'm not saying he's a better back. I'm not saying any of that. Like Ahmad Hardy's leading the SEC. He's done a lot of really good things. I did see today in SEC play, Jamal Roberts averages more yards per carry than Ahmad Hardy does.
Well, and somebody else made the somebody else made the comment that like Roberts they believe is a more complete back than Ahmad Hardy. And I'll just say this, like 3 touches in the first half, not ideal, but at least 2 of those other snaps he was on the field in the first half. One of them he false started, which we can debate the merits of that false start.
Huge play that people are not talking about.
Yeah, it made it 1st and 15 to start the second quarter. And then later in that possession was when Cassius Howell beat Kaden Green off the edge and forced a fumble that Green ultimately fell on, and Missouri ended up punting. But on that play specifically, Hardy is back in pass protection. And I understand that the angle is funny and Kaden Green's part of the play and you have to pick the angle correctly. But like Hardy did absolutely nothing as a part of that play to try and help Kaden Green with pass protection. Like that's something where you got to be in a position or find a way to position to chip that dude. Like that should have been line 1 on the offensive protection game plan. Like, hey, wherever 9 is, figure out where he's at, get at least 2 bodies on him on a regular basis if you can do that. And Hardy was just way out of position on there. And he has struggled with pass protection throughout the course of the year. You know who hasn't? Jamal Roberts. Jamal Roberts has been at the very least, more consistent when it comes to pass protection. And so people are like, why didn't Ahmad Hardy get more touches? Why isn't he on the field? Why this and that? Because of the false start, because of the struggles in pass protection. And that's, I think the coaches just trust Jamal Roberts a little bit more. And when the game plan is to try and chuck it deep, you got to keep the quarterback upright. And I think they trust Roberts to do that more than Hardy.
And also, like, Missouri ran 28 plays in the first half. 13 of them were handoffs to running backs for 105 yards or something. I don't really care who gets it. Like, you're running the ball with the running back, fine. Jamal Roberts has proven to be a strong backup to it's 1A and 1B at this point to me. There's not really a difference. I don't care which one of them's on the field, to be honest. Look, Billy, let's go ahead and jump to the super chats and the questions and all that, because we got to get those in before we get Drew in here talking basketball. We want to make sure we address people's football questions. Christian Mayberry says, in the games we lost this season, do you think it's a scheme coaching issue or do we simply not have the talent? We talked about that a little bit. Here's my answer. Guys, it's just they haven't made a play. Like Alabama and Vandy, they needed one more play they didn't make. Now, A&M was a different deal. That was a confluence of events, mostly third-string quarterback, and things just started rolling downhill and all that. But we look for so many different things to analyze when the truth is, at the end of the year, the teams that are in the college football playoff made about 4 more plays than the teams that are in the ReliaQuest Bowl. That's it. That's the whole difference.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I think there's the scheme coaching issue. To me, that's a totally different conversation. We can have that conversation if you would like to. But at the end of the day, like I understand that scheme plays a role, but at the end of the day, it's always going to come back to Jimmys and Joes over X's and O's, because if you got a dude that can wreck your well-played, well-schemed play, like, it don't matter how great your scheme is, because Cassius Howell could come breaking off the left side. And then what are you going to do, right? Like, how great is your play if your left tackle doesn't hold up his end of the bargain, right? A left tackle that we all believe will be very, very good and play on Sundays at that. So at the end of the day, like, Mizzou is just not executing when they need to, right? 2 fourth quarter interceptions against Alabama that were both on Bo, right? Both, I think we can all agree, maybe not the best reads, or at the very, or at not very good execution. Same thing against Vanderbilt, right? 4th and goal from the 2. And, the week earlier, they're able to score on that same concept, right? A quarterback run against Vanderbilt. Bo gets stood up and then he gets hurt, right? So, like, they were moving the ball with Zollers against Vanderbilt as well. And then they fumbled the ball, right? An execution thing. A lot of this time it comes back to execution.
Yeah. Wait. You don't think they called the fumble on the zone read?
I'm not sure if that plays in the play sheet. I got more questions than I think we have time for. But
look, here's the easiest way to look at this to me. If on Saturday, the only thing you change is that Mike Elko's coaching Missouri and Eli Drinkwitz is coaching Texas A&M, who do you think wins that game?
Ooh, say that one more time.
If Elko coaches Missouri and Drinkwitz coaches A&M on Saturday, who wins the game?
Who?
Because I think it's still pretty clearly Texas A&M.
Texas A&M has the talent advantage. They have the talent advantage at enough positions that, I think A&M probably still wins that game.
And like, there are some guys, the Bear Bryant quote, right? Like, he could take yours and beat his, and then he could take his and beat yours. There are a few. There aren't very many. Most of the time, the players or the coaches with the better players who play better on that day, like, the best team doesn't always win, because some days the best team doesn't play well. And that is not to take complete blame off coaching. Cody just told you that they could have done a better job. So the answer is, it's never completely one thing or the other, and everybody is culpable in the deal, especially when you look the way Missouri did on Saturday. But I think it comes down to, more often than not, you got to make a play. All right, let's I know we're going to get Drew in here, so let's roll through some of these questions. Scott Fitz says, we don't know how to handle the blitz. I don't know if that's true so much as Missouri's line is below average, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, there are some things that you can do to counter the blitz. And like here's another example where inexperience, at least the comparison between the two quarterbacks, where experience matters, right? Like, Zollers had not played 100 snaps before Saturday's game, and A&M was having a lot of success with various blitzes to find pressure on him, or their defensive guys were just flat out beating Missouri's. I think they finished with like 7 total pressures. I didn't actually look at the blitz numbers on PFF, but like, that's like, A&M just beat their dudes. Like, they just beat the guys in front of them more often than not. Yeah, they ran a couple of exotic blitzes, and they were able to beat some things that they, again, probably saw on tape that they knew Missouri would do in certain down and distance situations. And Elko's a great play caller, man, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. Like, he knew exactly what buttons to press, and more often than not, he pressed the right buttons on Saturday. But I think the other thing too is like the experience of having a quarterback who knows maybe what he's seeing, has done enough film study. And like, this is a thing that only comes with experience, but like that play, the screenplay to Concepcion that scored the touchdown. Marcel Reed checked into that, right? Like, he saw that Missouri put 7 dudes on the line, because that was a 3rd down play. And Batoon was bringing heat like he usually does on 3rd down. Like, let's light him up. Let's heat him up and see if he can beat us with his arm. Reed, if you go watch the play, like, A&M started with 2 stacked alignments. Reed checked to a different play, and Concepcion stepped out of the stack on the far right side, and he immediately threw to Concepcion at the snap, and all of a sudden it became a numbers advantage for A&M, because they let the dudes through. They let Missouri's pass rush through, and then 2 offensive linemen were able to get into space to allow Concepcion to get through, and he only had to, I think Banner still got a handful of jersey, but Concepcion's way too fast for that. You got to find a way to wrap up. So that's an experienced quarterback who has been through the ringer, especially the ringer of the SEC, seeing something, not liking it, and then having the freedom to check to something that he knows should work against it, and then it works swimmingly. And I don't know that – I think Zollers can get there, but he's just not there yet, because he just doesn't have the snaps and experience.
Kyle McCormick says, Gabe said he was pretty confident that Zollers will be the quarterback next year. Is this based on conversations or just a feeling? Look, I answer questions like this the same way every time. you guys pay us to have an idea what's going on. We give you our read based on that being our job, and sometimes you just gotta. You either believe us or you don't. I think Matt Zollers will be the starting quarterback next year. I would be surprised if that is not the case. Now, that I think also requires him to be at least serviceable in the next 4 games. I mean, if he plays 3 more games like this, then absolutely not do you go into spring football knowing that he's the starter. That can't be possible.
Yeah, I think that kind of circling back to what I said on the postgame show, like the next 3 games, potential. I mean, I guess 3 or 4, depending on what they want to do bowl wise after these next 3. It's about development for the future. It's about building Zoller's confidence. It's about bringing some of these other youngsters along. It's not to say that like they're going to take all the juniors and seniors or NFL draft bound guys and put them on the bench. No, you still want them to play. They still want to put out good tape for, their potential futures. But it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of this is centered on Zollers, right? Because he's the healthy quarterback in the room right now. You want to bring him along. You want him to grow. You want him to develop. You want him to build some confidence. I don't think he lacks for confidence, but you really want to see what you've got in this guy and what you could potentially have in him moving forward. Again, Drink has been very adamant that this guy is the future of the program. The future's now. Like, let's see what the kid can do. Does he need another full year to grow and develop from the bench? Or is this a trial by fire thing? I think that's what's going to be really intriguing to watch over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. Fire Marshal Bill, appreciate the super chat. What's Mizzou need to do in the offseason to become a college football playoff team? I mean, there's not one guy that I know for sure is on this team next year. And I don't know who's on anybody else's team. They need to be, I think more than anything, I think what has kept them from it is quarterback and offensive line. They need to be right at quarterback, whether that is Matt Zollers, whether they go out and pay some kid $87 million to come from somewhere else. I don't care who it is. They need to be right at quarterback. And the offensive line, like we know about the quarterback misses in the portal, offensive line, they thought they were going to get Howard Sampson from North Carolina, and then Texas Tech paid him $1 bazillion, and he went there. And then they thought they were going to get Cam Dewberry, and Cam Dewberry ended up, I think he actually came from A&M. They thought they were going to get Cam Dewberry, had him on a visit, and he ends up going to Alabama. If you have those 2 guys on this roster, Sampson's your left tackle, which means Kaden Green stays at left guard, which means, and then Cam Dewberry's your right guard, and you don't bring in Dom Jadis, and then you got Tollison at center and Keegan Trost at right tackle, and this line looks a lot different. So they've got to be right. And then on those couple of days where they haven't made plays, like I think all the frustration right now, Cody, isn't really about Saturday. It's still about how did we get beat by Vanderbilt? Because if you win that Vanderbilt game, and it's not Vanderbilt specifically, it's Missouri should have won that game. Like Missouri had 33 more plays. It is stunning how they lost that football game. So if you win that game, like we wake up today and we're still going, cool, go 3-0 and you're in the playoff. Like Saturday wouldn't have hurt. The problem was you had to win Saturday because that was the position you put yourself in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think in terms of Bill's question here, you need an offensive line that you can trust and that is filled with sorry mom, a bunch of ass kickers up front. Like you need that, or you need a dude behind center who can overcome whatever warts are on that offensive line. And if you can get both, amazing. But I think you start with the line. And if you can't get the line, you better find somebody who can overcome it.
Yeah, we're gonna zip through a couple of these because Drew's waiting on deck, and we don't want to go too far past 8:00 tonight. Cut to the chase. Am I going to regret paying to fly to Missouri for the game this weekend? I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, it's a decent. If you're going just to have fun, I hope you enjoy the game. I don't know what to expect. I feel like Missouri should still win this game, but boy, if they don't win this game, this whole thing about to maybe come off the rails.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is a winnable game. This is kind of a gut check game.
Have you seen a line yet?
I think I wrote it earlier today. 6.5 Missouri, I think ish.
Okay.
I didn't
That makes
write
sense.
it, but I wrote it in something that will be out later this week, the how to watch. But yeah, 6.5 Missouri. So this is a gut check game. Like all your goals are off the table now. Like all the goals that remain are very minor. Can you go take care of business here? Like what's the culture of this program like? That's kind of what this game will tell me.
Yep. I wonder if the new north end zone. I don't know. I don't think they care that none of them are going to watch a game from there. I really don't think that. Like I'm not trying to be dismissive of the question. I don't think it's all that big a deal for players.
You know what will attract transfers and or retaining the current guys? Money.
Money and playing time. Money and playing time. That's it.
100%. And there are some guys who will sacrifice playing time for a bigger paycheck, right? Like money talks. Everybody's got a price. There's one thing that I wanted to weave in here, and maybe this is the time to do it. I've had a coach tell me in the past before that we've got good kids in this program, but if I was a billionaire, I would be a better coach because you'd have the money to pay whoever you want to get the best of the best in your room, right? Or in your program or on the field, whatever the case may be. So like what'll help attract transfers or retain the current guys? More money.
Texas Tech is probably going to the college football playoff this year.
Because
there's not this rich history there.
No, I mean, you talk about a program that has routinely churned out like NFL dudes, but has routinely gone 6-6, 7-5, occasionally 8-4. Occasionally they win 9 or 10 games, like very rarely. And now they've got a billionaire booster who wants to basically fund the roster. Like that's. I'm not saying that's what Mizzou needs, but it wouldn't hurt.
Hey, everybody could use it. All right. If we go 7-5, how big a step back is that? Look, okay, so I want to get through this real quick. Then we'll bring Drew in and put up Freeway Jared's super chat because I feel like it's a good transition point. I mean, yeah, it's disappointing, but look, guys, the over/under at the beginning of this year was 7. Like that's what this team was supposed to be. Doesn't mean it's a good year. You're disappointed in it, but if they can beat Mississippi State and Arkansas and finish 8-4, like if that's your down year, 8-4 with a third string quarterback, this program is in a pretty good place. I understand where you want to go, and I understand it's frustrating you haven't gotten there. But like if 8-4 is a down year, Eli Drinkwitz has done one hell of a job at this program because 8-4 has very, very rarely been a down year for Missouri football.
There are a lot of programs around the country who would kill to go 8-4 and be upset about it.
Yeah, 100. I mean, Auburn and Florida right now would love to be 8-4. So, all right, let's Freeway Jared. I want to bring Drew on for this. Mizzou has never made the college football playoff, and Gabe has never taken his shirt off. Is it a coincidence? No, just selfishness. I want to say, first of all, Mike, I have taken my shirt off, just not on the YouTube channel. I do not wear a shirt at all times, but I do when I am on the YouTube channel.
Welcome, Drew. How are you?
I'm great. I actually had a couple of football points I wanted to make.
Okay, cool. Let's hear them.
Okay, number one.
Any points about the clothing or?
I'm actually somebody who does wear a shirt at all times. I'm never shirtless, actually. So,
in the shower?
Sure.
You shower in a shirt? Okay, cool.
Anyway, Breakfast King of Loyola had that comment about, will I regret flying to Missouri for this game? To answer the question, you will regret it if somebody calls a bomb threat in on an arriving plane.
Excellent point.
Drew, I think you're letting this one travel experience beat you over and over again. And we got to work on that mental confidence, man.
Sure. And then number 2, like y'all were talking about the Texas Tech billionaire that's essentially bought them a playoff spot. Why can't they buy them throwing tortillas onto the field? I don't get why they took that away.
Yeah.
That was kind of dumb, in my opinion.
I don't know why it got taken away. Like tortillas can't hurt anybody, right? Like it wouldn't really get hurt to get hit with a tortilla, would it?
Well, I think part of why it got taken away is because during the Kansas game, somebody snuck in a pocket knife and threw that on the field. So, I think they're just like, now, like, let's not throw anything at all.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I remember reading that.
Yeah, I think throwing a pocket knife on the field, like, that's a felony, I think. Tortilla is just a misdemeanor.
Yeah. Tortillas should be allowed. Make pocket knives, 50-50, but
pocket knives definitely.
Google told me that it was a Big 12 decision, so we can take it up with them.
I
Gotcha.
mean, the only thing that makes a football game in Lubbock, Texas stand out is that you might get tortillas thrown on the field. That's it. Nothing else. The pocket knife fell out of a coach's pocket.
Lame. I like my version of the story better.
Why does a football coach need a pocket knife during a game?
Protection, you never know what happens in West
maybe
Texas.
Maybe he was
Gabe,
hoping to
everybody-
catch a tortilla. He was going to cut himself up a little quesadilla or something.
Gabe, everybody has a pocket knife in Texas. I'm letting you know now.
Okay, cool. I mean, there are definitely places I would expect probably to go see a pocket knife at a football game in Texas, but I'm not sure.
Also, can we give Texas Tech a little bit of credit? Like, didn't Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes have a game where there was like 1,200 total yards of offense? Like, they're legit fireworks down there every now and again, right?
Look, like Michael Crabtree's one of the best, maybe the best college receiver I've ever seen. Like, they've had some dudes, but just. It is not a program, if you think, give me the richest history in college football outside of tortilla throwing that you think of very often.
Well, they're redefining what it means to author rich history, thanks to Cody Campbell.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
Cody,
cool.
Cody,
you got any basketball thoughts?
Well, I my only basketball thought is that like they just beat Central Arkansas 3 times. So, and they almost lost one of them. So that's 3-0, hooray, take care of your business. And then they actually have an actual game this week, right? Like they play Minnesota.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So I'll tune in a little bit more for that one. I don't know that I've actually watched a game yet. I've seen the highlights, but from a football writer's perspective, they've played Central Arkansas 3 times. So
yeah. Can we get everybody in the chat to wish Cody a happy birthday?
Oh yeah. I forgot.
My birthday was actually on Saturday, so we're 2 days late. So
a belated happy birthday.
Wow, they didn't. There was no cake or anything in the press box. You get to celebrate with Domino's Pizza. So
I'm at that age now where I just don't tell people that it's my birthday because it's
totally agree.
Like I'd rather not deal with the pomp and circumstance of the thing. So I don't know.
Pomp and circumstance.
There you go.
I didn't do that on purpose either. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, for Cody's birthday, we let him go 8 minutes before the show's supposed to end. So have a good one, man. Thanks.
Well, now you guys are going to go over talking hoops, which I think will make the Mizzou fans a lot happier since that team is.
Well,
maybe that's where I step out. So.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right, Drew. Should we be happier? Like we should be happier, right? They haven't lost.
Yeah, I feel like this is like peak overreaction season right now. Like I even got into it with somebody on Twitter today over Jaden Stone. Like it's one of my least favorite times of year, just because like we're 3 games in and we don't know anything really. Like we know some things, we know very little, but people want to act like we know everything already. So that's where I'm at.
Drew,
right
we haven't even seen more than 20% of the roster take the floor yet. So actually more than 25% because Aaron Rowe hasn't played.
Correct.
So 4 out of 14 we haven't even seen on the floor yet.
Has Dennis Gates gone like even 10 deep in the game yet? Because I know like the first 2 it was 9. Yeah, like this is uncharted territory for him.
Yeah, it's like it's the opposite of load management. He's going to try to wear all the guys out by the Illinois game, I think. Kyler says Stone, my eyes tell me he is good. Yeah, I mean, he's the 3rd leading scorer on this team. I think it would be fair to call him the biggest surprise on this team so far, right?
1,000%. Yes, for sure. Like I had no idea what to expect from him coming in because he's obviously like a 20-point per game scorer.
He didn't have any idea what to expect.
Yeah, like he's a 20-point per game scorer, but it was for like one of the worst teams in the country, like 364th out of 365, and then goes to West Virginia, doesn't play at all. Like it was really hard to see how he fit in, but he's fit in really well so far.
And like for the people that don't know, that didn't see the interview with him before the season or anything, it wasn't just didn't play. It was suffered an injury where he lost the use of half his body and was in a hospital room and thought he was never playing basketball again.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just he wasn't good enough to play. It was, hey, my career might be over. And like, it was just kind of a flyer. He was going to go back home to Australia, and Kyle Smith-Peters called him and he's like, what the hell? I'll give it a shot. Like, he came into this thing with zero expectation, and he's averaging 14.3 a game through Missouri's first 3 games. And I think it's their best outside shooter. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's 1,000% fair. Ant Robinson, I think, has a higher percentage right now, but he's not shooting it as often as Stone yet. And so, like, Stone realistically so far has filled in the Caleb Grill role for them. Like, he's not shooting as many threes as Caleb Grill, but he's shooting like the same percentage, coming off the bench and providing a spark like Caleb Grill. That's been eyebrow raising for me, for sure.
It works out perfectly because Ant Robinson has filled the Tamar Bates role of, seriously, why don't you shoot the ball more than you do? Like, please, God, shoot the ball more than you do. It usually goes in.
Yeah. Oh, man. I was a little bit nervous about him for a while there. Like, he didn't really show up in the Howard game. He barely showed up in the SEMO game. And then, like, first 5 minutes of VMI, I'm like, why is he not making an impact more? And then finally he got it going. He just needed one three to fall, and he finally got it going, had 20 points on the game. I think he's averaging over 3 steals per game. So yeah, like, that's kind of the Ant I've been waiting for and have been expecting to see this season. But yeah, he's somebody who has to take more threes. And that's what Dennis Gates talked about after the VMI game, was like, him and his 2 parents are all on Ant right now about trying to take more threes.
Are we taking the Minnesota game seriously enough? Like, how seriously should we take this game on Wednesday?
I kind of think I kind of like Minnesota, if I'm being honest, Gabe. I think we both have,
compared to like the Cal game 2 years ago, that I kind of thought, well, if Missouri loses this game, they're going to suck, and they fell down by 20, won the game, still sucked, but whatever.
I think it's maybe a little bit better than.
Check out Scott Fitz's comment on this.
What did he just say? Prediction. Oh, good stuff.
Several players may or may not play on Wednesday, according to Scott Fitz. I like that. Go ahead.
I have a point on that later. No, I think this Minnesota team is a little bit better than the one Mizzou saw 2 years ago, where they had to rally back from 20. Like, if you go down by 20 against this Minnesota team, I don't think you're coming back. I think we both have a high opinion of Nico Medved. I think we both like him as a coach. And then they've had this kid, Cade Tyson, who I hadn't really heard of. He played 2 seasons at Belmont, was pretty good both those years, and then went to North Carolina last year and didn't really do anything. He averaged like 2 points a game. And so when I was looking at the roster, I'm like, they just took a flyer on him. I don't think he can really contribute at this level. And then their first 2 games, Gabe, he had 30 and 21, and is shooting over 40% from 3, shooting over 60% from the field. That's like a legit high major player who can lead the team. And I don't know that Nico Medved has necessarily had a player like him before. So I think that you cannot overlook this Minnesota team. This is not going to be as easy as I think a lot of people were expecting coming into the year.
Yeah. So, like, maybe if they lose, it's not necessarily a catastrophe, but like, they still should win, we think, right?
Yeah, like, you're still at home. I think Ken Palm has it as a 7-point win for Mizzou. It's going to be Minnesota's first road game. It's a brand new team. They're still trying to build chemistry together. Like, this is one where, like, Mizzou's going to have the size and the speed advantages and the home court advantage. But Minnesota's got Cade Tyson, and that's somebody who I think could really give Mizzou problems in this game.
But also, let's be clear. Speaking of knowing nothing, like Minnesota has beaten two teams that are 320 and 336.
Correct.
Like that's great. They beat them by 40 points, but like they basically beat two teams that are probably worse than Howard.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully worse than SEMO also.
Well, and I think they're lower in the rankings than VMI as well. So like,
Well, I mean, look, man, you don't just wake up and turn into the Keydets. Like that's a process, man. That takes some time.
for sure. So my point about the injuries though was like Cade Tyson plays on the wing. He's 6'7" and like 200 pounds. All of Mizzou's wings are pretty much hurt right now. They've got Mark Mitchell playing at the 3. They got Trent Pierce sitting out. They got Honor Boateng sitting out. If those guys aren't back by Wednesday, that could be a real problem for Mizzou. Like I could see that causing a lot of issues where like who do you throw at Cade Tyson to slow him down? I don't know that. Yeah, well, you got Jacob Cruz, you got Mark Mitchell, Javon Porter, or you could go small with Jaden Stone and Sebastian Mack on the wings. So, yeah, like that's kind of a red flag for me going into this one. We'll talk to Dennis Gates tomorrow. We'll ask about the guys who are injured, but that's
how
something
you
I'm
think
curious.
that's going to go? Pretty well. Pretty straightforward answer.
Mm-hmm.
In all seriousness, though, Kyle was asking, like, at what point do we worry? I think it's a fair question. Like, if these guys don't play, especially Pierce, if Pierce doesn't play on Wednesday, that to me is all right, there's something going on here that is more serious than anybody's saying, because it has now been, I think, almost 3 weeks since the Kansas State exhibition game, right?
Yeah.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And Dennis told us that night, I didn't see anything that told me he couldn't play.
Yep.
If he's not playing on Wednesday night against a high major team whose best player is the guy he should probably be defending, that's a concern to me.
For sure. And Dennis Gates also told me after the Howard game, I expect Trent Pierce to play against SEMO. Held him out then. Said he was practicing that week and then didn't practice Friday. So, man, that is something I'm really curious to see this week is, do we finally see Trent Pierce or not?
And I think Boateng too, honestly. If either of those guys don't play, then this is no longer just a precautionary thing. You need your team in this game. Like, you don't need them in any other game. But this can't be we're just saving them till Notre Dame type thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a Big Ten team coming to your place. You only get 31 games. As of Wednesday night, we are 14% through the regular season. If they're not playing then yes, I think it's a concern and fair to say, when are we going to see them?
Well, and ideally, like, you have been holding those guys out for this game, right? And you just wanted to make sure you had all your ducks in a row for your first game of consequence. The issue is we don't know that to be the case or not right now.
Right. Here's my other question. Let's say those guys are good to play. Does Trent Pierce just automatically go in the starting lineup?
I would put him in there. Yeah.
I think he should.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, I didn't see anything out of Javon Porter that tells me that Trent Pierce, even in his first game, shouldn't start ahead of him. And I don't think Luke Northweather is going to start. Like, I don't know, unless Sean Phillips' injury or illness is a 4-day illness. And an illness, he was sitting on the bench. That tells me it shouldn't be a problem 3 days later, right?
Yeah. I agree with that. And Dennis Gates said he wanted to play. And they
always want to play.
And they had to hide his jersey.
Still wants to play.
They had to hide his jersey, Gabe. They had to hide his jersey at halftime. Yeah, like I'm expecting at least some guys to get back, right? Like even if it's not everybody, like you got to have some guys off the injury report in this game.
Yeah. And like, I know we joke about this, and I understand why. I mean, people know it drives us nuts. We understand why it drives you nuts. But like, this is a legitimate. At some point, if these guys really want to play and they keep being held out, like, is that an issue? Like, not it. Like, does it become an issue with players where they go, "Why can't I play, man? I only get 32 games this year, and I've just missed 4 of them." And I guess it depends on the severity and what's really wrong. But
Well, and again, like I think it matters what games they're missing too. It's okay to miss a VMI and a SEMO, right? But like this is going to be their biggest home game of the non-con. Like,
yeah,
you want to be in that game. So yeah, I think that if they are actually healthy enough to play, you got to play them.
counterpoint. It
Okay.
is $1.99 beer night at Mizzou Arena. I might say, Coach, can I sit this one out? I'm gonna be up in the stands.
I might
with
ask
the
you if
milk.
I could sit this one out.
I mean, look, it doesn't bother me at all if you bring a water bottle and you go to the concession stand and sit on press row. Now, that I'm not in charge of press row.
Right.
It will probably bother someone, but it will not personally bother me. $1.99 beer night. All right, let's roll through the rest of these basketball questions and see what the people are asking. Will we be able to be at least average on defense?
I mean, they were pretty good on defense the second half of the last game. And I think it will get a little bit better when they get guys healthy. But I don't know that it's going to be fundamentally different than it has been since Dennis Gates took over. Like I think we're still going to see guys get caught out of position trying to be disruptive and intercept passes. So I think he went a little overkill in this last game, hard hedging screens and just leaving shooters open every single trip down the floor. We did see some adjustments after that to help them pull away down the stretch. But again, like, define average, I guess. They were 84th in the country last year. I feel like that's
average to me.
Around where they could be, maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, this is a team that has scored, 106 and 89 and 88 and really hasn't shot the three all that well. So, like, they don't have to be great defensively. They have to hold teams to, 79 a game?
Yeah, I mean, because most nights they're going to score 80. So
exactly,
you can win that way.
Right.
It's going to drive people crazy to win that way. Like, I know everybody wants to see them tighten up defensively, but if it helps,
but also it drove me crazy to watch Konzo's teams win 63-59. Like, right. I hated that kind of basketball. If you give me a choice between the two, I'd much rather watch this.
I agree. Like, having a top 10 or a top 20 offense in the country, that's fun basketball.
Yeah.
It just might cost you a little bit defensively.
2 of his 3 teams have been legitimately enjoyable to watch. The one team, not very enjoyable. But the other 2 teams, and I understand people want to win more games and all that, but, like, man, those Florida and Alabama games last year and the KU game, that's about as fun as basketball can be for me. I'd much rather watch that than an old football game in the paint where 61 points wins it.
You're not a big Virginia basketball fan, Gabe?
Hate watching Virginia. I mean, like, I don't even like a lot of. Like, I used to like the Big East back when I was growing up, and that was because, like, fouls weren't allowed to be called. They just beat the crap out of each other. And that's the reason they only got 54 points was because 3 dudes were in the hospital at the end of every game. But but no, I mean, Dennis's teams are fun to watch. Aaron Stevens, why are border war tickets so ungodly expensive? I have no idea what they cost.
I have a hypothesis if you want to hear it.
Okay.
Okay. So what I've seen on the board is that rather than going 50-50 on this game, this is technically a home game for
It's a Kansas home.
And
Yeah.
so there are fewer tickets for Missouri fans, and I would guess that that's kind of driving the prices up.
Yeah, I do know it is a Kansas home game. I don't know what the ticket prices are. Also like maybe all the seats are premium seating. Maybe you get to sit on the baseline if you buy seats.
Well, that's impossible because we're supposed to sit on the baseline.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. All I know is the students
Maybe.
we're going to move them back a couple rows.
True. True. What are the Antlers gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. So, I don't know. I would say through 3 games, like first half against SEMO sucked, but like let's not judge them on their worst day, right? I think all we've learned about them is they actually have to show up. Like,
Yeah,
they can't just walk out there and not try. They're not good enough to just walk out there and not try and win games.
well, I don't know if you read my gamer, Gabe, but that was the first line that I had after VMI was there is a big difference between the Mizzou team that does not give maximum effort and the one that does. And we got to see a little bit of both last game. So the one that does, like, I think beats Minnesota fairly handily, but I don't know that we'll get that version of them.
Okay, Billy's got the seating map up. It looks like to sit basically courtside, you're looking at $300 and some odd dollars. Upper deck is 148. Drew, is there a regular season college basketball game that you would pay $300 to see?
300. If I was like, I mean, this is going to be a cool game. I think 300 for courtside is actually kind of a good deal. Especially if like both teams go in. Well, Mizzou's not really going to be ranked after this going into that game, huh? I don't think the schedule's.
I mean, you never know. If enough people lose, they could sneak into the low 20s at 8-0.
Maybe, yeah. So I could see this being worth 300. Regular season
Really?
though, I mean, especially coming off last year and knowing like Mizzou is competitive enough to make it interesting again. And also like Kansas has the number 1 player in the NBA draft, Darren Peterson.
Not for 300, man.
Courtside?
Yeah. I wouldn't do it. Not for a regular season basketball game. Not for any regular season basketball game. Like
if I was a big enough fan, I think that's a nice Christmas present, early Christmas present.
The only scenario, the only regular season way I would spend $300 to go to a regular season basketball game is if one of two things. Either like there's some like, hey, this is Tom Izzo's last game at Michigan State. Or, okay, cool. Or if like you tell me, hey, I just happen to be in North Carolina for Duke, Carolina, and Durham. Okay, cool. I could do that. Yeah, I'm never going to be there again. Yeah, I'll do it one time.
Okay, we were in the building for Mizzou, Kansas last year, though. You're telling me.
Right, it was free. And it was awesome.
Yeah, but we also weren't courtside. Like, I would guess that those tickets were probably higher than 300.
Right, but I wouldn't pay it 300. That's my point.
Okay, that's
like
fine.
If you had told me before that game last year, you're going to have to pay $300 to cover this game, I would watch it on TV.
What about when you were a student? I guess before you got to watch Mizzou games for free.
Maybe, yeah. I did go to an MUKU game at Allen Fieldhouse, and I actually got a free ticket, so that was better. I mean, when I was a student, like I needed $300 to go to buy George's and stop at a Hardee's on the way home, so I couldn't spend it on basketball tickets. But, yeah, whatever. So I don't know. Media day tomorrow. Drew will give you the breaking injury report. basketball on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. We'll be there. Anything
We'll
else?
be there. We'll be doing a post-game show afterward too, I think. Is that right?
We will be. Oh, one other thing. Wednesday, early signing day. We expect
Yes.
Aiden Chronister, Jason Crow Jr., and I would think, I haven't gotten a response yet on Tony Bryant, but I would think Tony Bryant also. I think they're all three planning to sign on Wednesday. So we ought to be able to maybe ask Dennis Gates about those guys and kind of get some actual comments on those guys Wednesday night.
Yes. I know Chronister, I'm pretty sure he's signing like officially Wednesday and then having a ceremony Friday. So I'll have something on him at some point this week too.
Yeah, and I texted Jason Crow's dad today and just said, "Hey, is Jason signing on Wednesday?" And his response was there ever a doubt? So I took that as a yes.
Okay.
He is signing on Wednesday. So good news for Missouri fans. The recruiting class will be signed certainly by the end of this week, but we are fully expecting on Wednesday. Also, fully expecting you to get in touch with our friend James Carlton at some point after this show and say, James, every Monday night I hear about you on YouTube and you sound like a great guy that's going to save me money on my insurance. And I really like Gabe and Drew. And if you're good enough to be their insurance agent, you're good enough to be my insurance agent. So give them a call at 314-961-4800. You can also check them out online, carltoninsurance.net. You can work out the whole thing by email, online. If you don't like to talk to people like me, you don't have to talk to people to get new insurance with James. But James is a good guy, so give him a call. You can talk to him too. Either way you do it, hope you do it. Appreciate you joining us here, and we will talk to you Wednesday night.